Okay, this is day 174. This is part one. And the Syria situation has got me thinking about Awan Contra. And is this Syria situation a way of just wiping away the Awan Contra affair altogether so it won't have to be dealt with? I was talking with Deep Uranium, and he was saying wars cover crimes. Wars cover our crimes. And if you really look at it, it looks like this Syria war is not only an attempt to cover the crimes that were committed in Syria by Mike Morrell with the Ghouta attacks earlier with chemical weapons and ISIS and all the chemical weapons attacks by ISIS that Mazzetti from the New York Times reported on so long ago, all the great reporters, Shifa Gardi, Serena Shim, Vanessa Beasley, Ava Bartlett. So is this really a cover activity? And the more I got to look at it and go back through all the different stories I've done on Awan Contra, the more I thought this was true. This isn't just about Syria, I don't believe. Since the Israelis immediately attacked the Iranians, it almost seems like a monkey paw into Iran. So we need to take a position there. Then we need to move into Iran. You could just almost hear McCain saying, well, now we need to take out enemy sanctuaries in Iran. And all of the movement and illegal parts of the Iran nuclear deal that we don't know about will cleverly and be disguised and pushed to the side. And we will forget all about Awan Contra. We'll forget all about dealing with Hezbollah. We'll forget all about guns for drugs for ISIS. We'll forget all about containers. We'll forget all about the Gulf Tainer deal in Port of Canaveral, the new Gulf Tainer deal that looks like it may be held up a little bit now in the Port of Wilmington. All these things will be forgotten much the same way they were forgotten about 30 years ago with the original Awan Contra, 33 years ago now. So the analysis, if you actually just take a little bit of time rather than jumping to a kind of a jingoistic, immediate, full throttle attack against Syria with no evidence whatsoever, why not take a breath, actually gather some evidence? We have plenty of time. The Syrian targets aren't moving anywhere. Why don't we send in teams from 5 or 6 different countries, look at the actual evidence around Duma, and then make our decision, an informed decision, rather than making a rash decision, which could be plunging our country into another 13-year war. We've had 2 of these 13-year wars that still aren't quite resolved. We still have actions going on in Afghanistan, for instance, now 16 years later, and still actions and skirmishes and holdovers from the Iraq conflict in the surrounding countries. So, again, I think if we go back to the evidence, go back to the BlackBerries, go back to the Gmail accounts, go back to the people who negotiated the Iran-Contra deal, go back to the people who were involved as go-betweens like Sterling and Saberi, go back to the people who were investigating those situations and really getting to the root of what the deep state has been trying to do rather than having a knee-jerk reaction that the deep state wants us to have. I think now more than ever, we need to produce hundreds of thousands of documents a day, at least the metadata, So it really is kind of this battle between kind of a secret police, what we have right now, with attacking attorney-client privilege and the right of privacy everywhere we go, and just kind of shredding the Fourth Amendment, versus this other more thoughtful, democratic form of producing documents, having the separation of powers, having the oversight capability with the different separation of powers. And the more I looked at it, just the preponderance of evidence, all the different stories that we've done and piled up on Awan Contra, leads me to believe that this is kind of a last gasp effort. Syria is kind of a last gasp effort to cover war crimes with war, to cover these old crimes with the nuclear deal, the Awan nuclear deal, the Awan Contra nuclear deal with war.